Thursday night to everybody joining. Thank you guys for coming back. If you are new to the station, my name is Season, and I am the lucky one that gets to take you through tonight's episode of Season's Sunflower Hour. If you haven't done it already, make sure you click that heart button to follow us, and hey, even set notifications so you never miss an episode. You are not going to want to miss tonight's show or anyone's in the future. I promise you, by the end of the night, you will be smiling and inspired and ready to do all kinds of amazing things to take on the world. That's what these shows tend to do to people, or so I've heard. So we're going to keep the trend going. I want to start the show with some more thanks, because we always like appreciating the blessings that we are receiving on the show because of all of you. So thank you so much to Mud Stuffing, our last live stream. Mud Stuffing, yep, you heard me right, Mud Stuffing, donated to our Tiltify campaign. So guys, don't forget, our Tiltify campaign is up in the About Us section, the beautiful purple box. You can donate there, help us reach our next goal of $500. We are $270 in, so let's get there. Hey, let's maybe even get there by the end of the show. Sam's going to go ahead and pop that link up so that you guys can directly find that in our comments and donate to the Tiltify campaign. And also, and some more announcements before we dive in tonight, I want to tell you guys about the research-related teleseries that we have coming up on May 15th. It's all going to be done online, so everyone can stay safe from the comforts of their own home. It will be a webinar where we're going to have experts from UIC and University of Chicago talking about all the new sorts of research, all the things that are happening in our chapter, so on a local level. This is really exciting. It is free. You don't have to pay anything. You can just hop online and check it all out. Sam will post that in our comments as well so that you guys can find all the links and information on how to join and stay up to date with what's going on in our chapter so that you guys know what's happening, where your money's going to, and what's new in the world of research for ALS. There is those links are getting popped up right now. So there is the link for the Tiltify if you guys want to donate. And next up will be the link to the May 15th research series. So now, we have a great show ahead of us. I don't want to waste any more time because I promise you're going to want to hear from these guests tonight instead of me chatting at you. So let's dive in straight to it, to our first guest. Now, in 2011, Chris and his family had the shock of a lifetime. Chris's father was diagnosed with ALS. 2 years later, on Chris's 33rd birthday, he not only lost his father, but he lost his best friend. Now, although ALS has taken Ken from us here on Earth, it will never take his legacy and the impact that he's had on the lives of so many. So here with us tonight to share Ken's story is his son, Chris Lempa. Please welcome Chris to the show. Yay! It's virtual, so you can't hear everybody clapping for you. So
Hey,
for you. Yay, Chris!
Thank you. That was very nice.
You're very nice. I'm really excited to get to talk to you. So tell me, before we get going, tell me a little bit about your dad.
Yeah, I think one thing that my dad was really good at was bringing people together and really instilling in all of us to have a sense of community and look out for our loved ones, our neighbors. That's one thing that I think my parents both did with us from a young age. It's really about a sense of community and loving the people around you and making your neighborhood, making your community better than it was before you arrived.
Such a great attitude. And so, like you said, there's this sense of community. How did your life change within your family, within your community after the ALS diagnosis?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's as you can imagine, it's a really interesting time to think about. In some ways, it was the longest 2 years of my life, and on the other hand, it was the shortest time. It just went by so quickly. I think what it did was it really brought my immediate family together, and it made us a lot closer. My brother and I have a fantastic relationship now. My sister and I do, my mom and I do, and we're all just really close because of that. And I like to look for the positives in things. It also made me realize how short life really is. I mean, my dad was 63 years old. He had just retired. He did everything you were supposed to do in life. My parents both worked hard. They saved. They had retirement to look forward to, and then gone.
Yeah.
What do you do? So I really thought about the way I lived my life from that also, and what that means. I'm 40, but if I get ALS, that could be 42. And then what? What does that mean? So it really makes you think about each year that you live, each minute that you live, and really making it worth your time and worth it to the community, and just really doing what you love, and really being a good person. Don't be a jerk. That's the Chris Lemper rule. But it really makes me think about that a lot more too. Be a good person. Don't be a jerk.
I love that. I feel like you need to wear a shirt. Just have that, the quote of the night. Just don't be a jerk.
Well, I think my family's watching, so for my next birthday, that's what I want.
Everyone watching this. That's a great shirts, hats, socks, everything. Don't be a jerk. Quote by Chris Lemper. Very, very important quote of the night. But you're right. It's these moments. We have no idea what's coming next. And in fact, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the show, but this month is particularly special for the ALS community because May is ALS Awareness Month, and we are all about giving more of those moments, doing everything we can to make more of those moments count, to have more special moments. Like you just said, I mean, the moments are precious. You have no idea how long you have with ALS. And, your dad, you guys, you all came together and you lived all those moments to its fullest. So you kind of already answered this for me, but I wanted to know, how has the ALS Association impacted you and your family's life?
Oh my God, I could not imagine going through it without the whole team at the ALS Association and the, not only the staff, but also the other family members, the other people who are going through ALS. You don't know what you're getting into. I mean, there's no way to know. It hits everybody so differently, but also it turns your life upside down. I was living in Kansas when it happened, and my mom and dad were still in Chicago. And, what do you do? What do you do when your life is turned upside down? We were very fortunate to, have insurance and be able to do, some care for ourselves, but you don't know how to find a power chair. You don't know how to navigate insurance. I mean, I have a hard time navigating my dental insurance. I'm a fairly smart guy, So just having somebody who can answer those questions for you, somebody who's listening to you when you're crying, and somebody saying, you know what, this sucks, but you will get through this. We are here for you. That's really important. I remember there was a really funny moment. My dad and I were sitting at the kitchen table, and we found a cushion that he needed for his power chair. And we were in a bidding war on eBay, and it turned out we were bidding with Jumana from the ALS Association.
Oh, no.
One of us won it, but we bid the price up. But, it was just funny because somebody was there looking out for us. And it's like those little stories, you don't get that from the hospital or your insurance company. You get that from people who care about you as individuals and people who are humans. It's a face-to-face connection you can have.
I love that you said that story because it's so true. This is a family. I've said it in past episodes. It's a family that you never ever want to have to be a part of. But if you are a part of, it is a tight-knit family. Like, words don't even describe it. So the fact that, those are the things that are happening. The ALS Association, they don't turn off. I swear. No. This team of people, they go 24/7 so they can get the equipment you need. They can do all of these things to be there for you. And I love how you say, I think you're right. Most people would have no idea where to begin. And I feel like I don't want you wasting time having to try to think about, where's this equipment going to come from? What doctors do I need to see? How do I get my dad to the doctor? I want you spending time with your family. I want you spending time with your dad instead of wasting it on that kind of back end stuff. And I think that's what the chapter is so good about. They dive in and they're like, let us take all that on for you. So
100%.
Enjoy these moments. Now, how'd you guys find your way to the chapter?
I believe it was the doctors at the University of Chicago that connected us. And I think the first connection was made. I wasn't there, but I believe it was the doctors at the University of Chicago. And that was the other thing. The ALS Association has the connections with the hospitals, so they're talking to you when that tragic moment hits. So it's one less thing you have to think about. Also, it's they're 5 steps ahead and already thinking about those things for you. So we didn't have to think about that. We're thinking about oh my gosh, we have stairs going into the house. There's a second floor. There's a third floor. We shower in the base. Like, where are you going? Like, how do you navigate this? But they were at the doctor's office and talking to us, and making appointments to come to our house and talk to us right away. So.
It's so you bring up all these things that I think someone that hasn't been impacted by ALS firsthand, you don't think about these things. All of those things are challenges. I wouldn't even fathom those kinds of things. But yeah, those are struggles that you guys have to deal with every single day and navigate and try to figure it out. Oh, yep, your brain starts to go into overdrive. Yes, Sabrina Johnson, she's another one. She lost her dad as well to ALS. So, I mean, this family, it's just so tight-knit. We're just here to continue to support each other. Speaking of awesome dads, can you share maybe one of your favorite moments or memories with your dad?
Yeah, I think one memory that will always stick out to me because it kind of ties together a number of important moments in my life is I used to run a youth program in Lawrence, Kansas. Side story there, I used to want to be a special ed teacher. That's what my mom did for, I'm not going to say how many years, she'll get mad at me. But I ended up working with kids.
Your mom's only like 30 years old.
Yep. So my dad had just retired and he had all of this chocolate, shaped like golf balls and golf bat, just different retirement kind of ridiculous things. He brought down this giant box of like chocolate and candy and all this really unhealthy junk food for the kids at the youth program that I worked at. And then he played video games with them, which, I did not give them unhealthy food and I rarely let them play video games. So it was like a true kind of grandfather sort of thing coming down and just spoiling the kids. And it was just really nice. It's one of those moments where he bonded with some of the parents who were there and the kids, and it was my workplace, and it just kind of bringing that family vibe that we had back at my home on Home Avenue in Berwyn to my workplace, the community I was trying to build on there.
He sounds like such a cool dude.
Yeah, there are definitely some good moments.
I'm sure there are many good moments too. And I love that you get to at least, no matter what happens in life, we get to take all of those with us. So yeah, I'm happy you had great moments. So great moments with your dad. I know you and I have kind of talked about this a little bit, and I was blown away when we were on the phone chatting about all of this. But how's your dad inspired you? I mean, he's inspired you in some pretty cool ways. So I want everyone else to hear about that.
Yeah, when I think about those kinds of things, it's really about the family that we had and the way our family has grown together in the moments as a family. I think the most inspiring moments for me are really more about the family unit as a whole, and I try to kind of remember those and really just being there for one another and supporting one another and one another's goals and just being there and having each other's backs, even if we're not necessarily seeing eye to eye at the moment, or siblings are sometimes have their rough patches, but just knowing my brother, for instance, is my best friend, but we've also had our times when we've had knockout blows. Now, fortunately, most of those when we were like 10, but yeah, and that's another thing, just remembering what's important, and it's your family, it's the people who are there for you. And also, again, just looking out for other people. Those memories, and that's really something that both my parents had instilled in us, and I think is something I'm going to take with me till the grave. So,
and strength. I mean, we had talked about that. You had brought up sort of getting to see this sort of the ugly side of ALS, watching your parent go through this, but watching him fight it with such strength and such courage, and then your mom having to step up and sort of 100% be the caretaker. You got to witness that.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that I really took out of this the most is the role that immediate caretakers play and how we underestimate that role, and we never really look out for the people who are taking care of others. I'm fortunate I was living in Kansas, but I had a job that was supportive of me. So I was kind of commuting back and forth like every week, which I know some people do that all the time and love it, but that's not my favorite thing to do. My brother was here a lot, and he was in medical school. So, I mean, he was, medical school. I don't know how people do that alone, how you do that with a parent who's going through something like that, but plus coming in and being supportive to the rest of your family as well. I I don't know how he did that, and my sister was going through college. Like, it was just one of those things. But then really just, our goal was to make sure, my parents were doing the best they could, that my mom was doing the best that she could, and she got her breaks when she needed them. If you even have a break, that's probably not even the right word. But it also really made me appreciate more. Susan, I mentioned this to you. My aunt has had MS for a very long time, and I never looked at my uncle as a caretaker. And it was a conversation that we had during that moment. I think we were, I don't know, eating some pizza or something, and we had the conversation about caretakers and looking at it in a whole different way. We don't like to say you're a caretaker to a family member, but that's really what it is. And then I took a step back and I was thinking about people who are like, CNAs and CMAs and these people who, take care of people for a living, but we pay them next to nothing. We look down on those jobs like they're next to nothing. And it's really awful the way we just don't respect those, that role in society, that role in the profession. It really makes you think about a lot of things, but we do have to pay more attention to caretakers and their mental health and to, how we care for people who are going through things.
It's true, because that's one of those things. No, it's true. That's one of those thankless jobs, and it is so hard. It is so hard. And there are other ones. They don't really. Yes, absolutely. Caregivers really are. That came through. To anyone watching that is a caregiver, or tell anyone in your family that's a caregiver, thank them, because it is a thankless job. And I don't know how your mom did it, because your mom, it's not even a job for your mom. It's not like she got to get off and go home. It was 24/7.
Oh, and she was a special ed teacher. I mean, that's not, that's a tough job. Like, and then going, I don't know how she did it. One thing I wanted to throw out there, and this is a little bit off topic, but it's also part of this whole thing, is it was really interesting. I was working, my job at the Housing Authority, and a lot of the tenants, a lot of the parents were CNAs and CMAs. And it really opened my eyes in a different way as well, that I was coming back to do very similar work that they were doing, but I was still, because of my lot, fortunate where I was, getting paid to not be at work and doing all these things. And they were going in doing this work day in and day out and still not being respected in the same way that I was. For me, it was like, oh, that's admirable that you're doing this. And for the, for the CNAs, and that was one thing too. We made sure we were very, thoughtful, and we tried to really take care of the people who were coming in and helping out my dad, the different CNAs and caretakers and people from the ALS Association. So I'm going on and on about caretakers, but it's really, really important. We have to treat people better.
No, I love that you even brought that up, though, because I think even sometimes here, we're diving in so much into the story and to the loved one that's fighting ALS or we've lost ALS. Yeah, we do forget sometimes to just mention and recognize the heroes that are behind the scenes that are keeping them happy and smiling and comfortable. So I'm really glad. Oh, we have a question, silly question, but did your dad have a bucket list he wanted to do while he still could?
I don't know if he had a bucket list per se. He was always asking me when I was going to get married and have kids. The answer to the second one is never, and the answer to the first one is we'll see.
He's waiting now. Now he's up there waiting, probably nudging you, like giving you all, creeping into your dreams. Like, is it time? Is it time?
Well, I'll just say, Amy, good job.
Oh, no,
I think she's watching.
My sister. I missed what you said.
Oh, my sister Amy. She's going to be the one who makes everyone happy, I think.
Oh, you're making them happy too, just in a different way.
Different way, right?
A different way. Exactly. We're going to get to this because I want to end on this, but you're going to have a whole lot of kids in your life, just in a different path.
Yeah. Now or later.
Exactly. You absolutely will. I love that question. Yeah. Anyone else that's watching, if you guys have questions, chime in. We want to know. We want to have them answer what you guys want to know. So that was a great question. Thanks, Kevin Nice 69. I do love that. Do you have a bucket list? Speaking of that.
Do I have a bucket list?
Yeah.
It changes. I want to run 100 miles. I would like to bike pack in Denali with my
Ooh.
brother. Yeah, so those are two of the big ones. I'd also, yeah, I think my real my bucket list is just to be happy and to live life for myself and to make sure I'm looking out for myself and doing what makes me happy. I think we forget to do that sometimes.
Oh, I don't know what's happening. I think
Sorry.
we're having a storm or something. I don't know what's happening. The connections are going crazy. I'm going to piece
Okay.
together what I think you said, and I think it was pretty amazing. No, don't go anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
Nope.
Everyone else, but we were audio for a little. You said, I'm sure I heard it.
Definitely freezing. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're going to roll with it. I hope you guys, sorry you guys if we're breaking up, but we're going to keep going, and don't worry, there's going to be lots of magic to be said, so you're not missing anything. I love this. Oh, your mom is actually watching. She popped
Yeah.
in season. Do you remember, Ken? You can smile. Okay. I didn't want to bust this out, but yes, absolutely do your dad. So to meet your dad, that was, I think it was maybe 2013. I think it was.
I think that's right. I think that's right.
Yeah, I think it was. So I got to meet him, and I got to, this guy's smile and his eyes, my goodness. I mean, your mom's watching, so I can't even say don't tell your mom, but I think I fell in love with him just a little bit. He was just so infectious, and he was so contagious. And you guys, so was that the first year? Was that the first year you guys did our walk? Okay.
Yeah,
So the first
that
year,
was.
and you, this is pretty insane. I got to meet the whole team. There was a bazillion of you there. It was so cool. Somewhere floating around. I actually tracked it down, but we do have a picture of the whole team together. And I hopped on your dad's lap and I gave him a big old smooch because I told you I did. I fell in love with him just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a huge team, and you got.
That's my best friend in New York.
Oh, that popped in. That, what is it?
Yeah.
Weekenthropic?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if
Hi,
you're
Dave.
calling me a hot pepper, thank you. I'll take that compliment.
Sorry, he's calling me a hot pepper. We have matching hot pepper tattoos.
Oh, darn it. Okay, so I guess it's not a great compliment to me. So you hot pepper over there. Wait, so this year that you guys did the walk, the first year, because you've been back many times since, you were telling me you raised over $20,000.
We did, and it was, what was really great was that year it was us and, gosh, I cannot remember the other team, but we were neck and neck as far as the fundraising goes, and we both, I believe, broke the previous records for non-corporate teams. But then my understanding was the next few years after that, that record just kept getting broken as well. So it was, I would have liked to hold the record longer, but I'm happy that the number kept going higher and higher.
Yeah.
Fundraising that much money is hard, but it was nice to see all of our friends and family come together. People coming out of the woodwork that I knew a long time ago, giving a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there, and some people giving more. Thanks, Mom. Giving more money here and here. Yeah, but just really, I think the best part about that number for the ALS Association, of course, it's the money, but also, with the Ice Bucket Challenge came up around that time too, more and more people just really learning about ALS and what it is and how awful it can be, but the need to do, more support and research for it. But yeah, we had a good time. We had a really good time. We had matching shirts, which I've since tattooed the logo on my arms. And yeah, it was a lot of fun meeting all the great folks. Yeah, Dad loved when meeting you. Talked about that a lot. Yes.
I talk about him. I'm telling you, I just love him. I don't think I have ever sat on another person's lap and smooched him right on the face like that. So your dad was super, super special. I love that. And I don't even know how we captured that moment, but I love that someone was super sneaky and captured that moment so that, you can look back forever. But my gosh, and your mom. And this is what's so cool about you guys too. I love this about our family. Your dad was diagnosed, he passed away, but that wasn't it. You guys didn't stop. You're so involved. Your family is so involved still. Your mom's an ambassador. So I see her at all the meetings. She's pretty much at every volunteer event that I've ever been at. Your mom just rocks it. And you and your siblings, I mean, you guys are still such an active part of advocacy. I think that's so great. Was that kind of a no-brainer, easy decision for you guys?
You know, I'm not really good at, I'm kind of an all-in sort of person. I'm not good with moderation. And I think this goes to my brother and I started out, my big contribution now is I run the marathon for Team ALS. And my brother and I started running when my dad got sick as an outlet, as a healthy outlet for stress and for just everything that was going on. And I had never run. I did not want to run. I did not want to run a 5K, nor did I want to run anything more than that. And someone from the ALS Association came up to me and said, "Oh, you're a runner. You should join Team ALS and run the marathon." And I said, "Absolutely not. That is stupid. Marathons are ridiculous. I'm never going to run 26 miles."
26.2 or something, even more.
26.2 miles, right. Because that last 0.2 seems like 30 miles. But I've run 4 marathons, and I've been on the team, I think, 7 years at this point now. And this year will be my 5th. So it's something I could do to keep my body, I think, healthy. Some people might say it's just deteriorating my body more. I'm not sure. But also continue to raise awareness and money for an organization that just means so much for us.
It's true. And I was going to bring it up when you beat me to the punch that, you're sitting there laughing like, no way, I'm never going to run a marathon. Here we are all these years later, 4 medals under your belt.
Yeah.
You not only run it, but you continue to finish the Chicago Marathon. So I think you're a crazy person, but in the best possible way.
That part's to be debated.
Now that we're on the topic of the run and all of that, and you still being a part of this year after year, despite the fact you don't like to run, because I'm with you on that one, what did Marathon Week look like? I mean, what was it like being a part of the ALS Association's running team?
I kind of felt guilty because they really took care of us. We, from the start where we had personalized training plans with I always did the Coach Brendan plan. He was always available for us via email, phone call. And then, Sarah's a fantastic team captain. I ran one of the marathons with her, and then I think she just blew me away. But yeah, it's really great. The highlight for me, aside from the marathon, is the night before, we always have a pasta dinner. We meet the people on our team. We go around, share our stories, and just kind of chat and get to know more people who are either going through similar things that you did, went through something, or, just really phenomenal people who joined the team just because they want to see ALS go away. And then, of course, the massages afterwards don't hurt. And the, lunch and everything that's provided for us after the marathon. But really just, it's an extension of the family again. It's great.
It's true. They treat you guys kind of like VIPs, which I love. I mean, when you're part of the ALS run team, you're a VIP all the way. So you mentioned there's a great dinner before. There's a lot of camaraderie. There's a VIP suite that overlooks where your friends, your family can be there to watch you. You guys get to come, you get massages, you get food, you get juice. You're so taken care of. Because 26 miles sucks. Mm-hmm. We want you to be in your best possible shape to make that happen.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I'm just thanking you for running and being an all-star.
Yeah. Well, and it's also one of those things I would never think about doing the Chicago Marathon for a few reasons. One of which is the bag checks are ridiculous. Like, if I wasn't part of this team, aside from the fact that I'm raising awareness and money for something that's really important to me and is a big part of my life and will always be, it's a logistical nightmare. It's not worth it. I mean, I kind of hate navigating Chicago on a Friday night. I can't imagine, marathon day is awful. But we get a hotel that's a third, less than a mile away from the starting line. The ALS suite is there. Yeah, they take care of us like no tomorrow. So if anybody's listening who wants to run a marathon, run with us, raise some money, have a good time.
Yes, I love that. I was just going to ask you. So what would you say to prospective runners? If people were maybe on the fence if they should run for Team ALS or not, how are you going to sell them on coming and joining the family?
The pasta is really good. There's free beer the night before. If you don't drink, there's also free soda. And it's really a good way to put you over the top. Like if you're on the fence and you're not sure, sign up and support a good cause. And if, I think you should do it for Team ALS, but there's lots of fundraising opportunities. Of course, Team ALS is the best, so you should do that one. But it's really that thing that puts you over the fence to really get you to do something that's kind of crazy and kind of bonkers. Yeah, you should do it.
It's true. I agree. You sold that. So if anyone's interested, you guys have to do it. Sam put the link up for more information on it. And we do still have, last time I heard, 79. There it is. There's the link. We still have 79 bibs up for grabs. So let's fill those bad boys up. Join Team ALS.
And, if you can sign up and not run, you can just fundraise for us. We prefer that you run, but you can also just fundraise. We're okay with that too.
That's a good point. That's actually a really good point. Or if running intimidates you, I've always said this because I can't run to save my life, but you can walk it. I mean, there's no, you have to finish within 6 hours, but you can walk it. You can take it slow. You can get some of your friends and you guys all just sort of walk it, slowly pace it together.
One of my oldest and dearest friends just signed up, and she's a walker. She just walked 20 miles this past weekend, but I convinced her to join the team, and she'll be running with us this year for her first marathon. So you can definitely do it if you're more of a walker as well.
Oh, that's so exciting. You have
6.5 hours to do it to get the official medal. And if you think it's going to be a little bit longer, I'll snag you an extra one and give it to you at the finish line.
Look at that. I love that. Everyone look out for Chris. He's got your back. That might be me walking, and I probably still wouldn't make it in 6 hours.
I think you should sign up, Season. I'm gonna talk to Sarah and make sure that you get a bib.
Wait, remember we talked on the phone, and I get out of breath going upstairs. It's a little embarrassing. I'm pretty sure 26.2 miles would kill me.
It's a pretty flat marathon. You don't have to worry about the stairs or hills. It's just the very end. There's a little bit, but it's flat. So I think you can do it.
Okay. Or I'll just tie a rope. I'll just put myself in a little carriage or a buggy with wheels, and you can just pull me. You can like run and do your thing, and I'll just like chill along behind you.
You know what? I like a challenge. If you sign up, let's do it.
I like this. I think we should run with this. I love this. You guys make sure to seriously check it out. We still have some bibs available. And from what I understand, the lottery for the marathon is closed. So there's no other way to get into running the marathon but with the charity team. And what better team than to be with us in this family. So make sure you check out the link in the comments and join Team ALS. You can run next to Chris. And if he's not already pulling me, then he can pull you too. If you start to get tired, he can pull all of us actually, because you're pretty much a superhero. I'm convinced of that too. So you can pull us all. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Start working out now.
Yeah.
So speaking of, another reason why I think you are a superhero, and you talked about it earlier about your dad inspiring you to just remember that life is short and to enjoy every moment. And so that has led you to making some new choices in your life and heading you down a different path. So what's next for you?
Yeah, well, at 40 years young, I decided that it was time to get a second master's degree and become a school social worker, and then also a therapist. So I'm social work school at the University of Illinois at Chicago in August. So I'm really, really excited about that.
I love that.
Yep. So we'll see. It's going to be great working full time and going to school full time. When I've kind of gotten to the point where my time off, but yeah, it's something I wanted to do, and it's you have to take care of yourself and do things for yourself. So
you do, and you know what? You are Ken Lempa's son, and the strength that man has shown, that just means you can do it. There's pretty much no challenge you can't get through because you have all of it in him. And I love that.
I have a very supportive family, and there are things right now. We talk about the present. I couldn't do without my mom, my brother, and my sister, and all the support from them as well. So it's really, we are a tight knit family, and it's really important. So I think, the memory of my father's there, and the four of us are still doing it, still moving forward. So
it's true. And he, ironically, this all comes full circle because he got his wish, because he wanted you to have kids, and you're going to have so many kids.
That's right.
That you were hoping. So it all happened the way it was supposed to happen,
Absolutely.
I love this. Well, thank you so much for coming in. I love your family so much. I don't know how you and I haven't actually spent a lot of time together. I get to hang with your mom all the time, and I get to, I got to smooch all over your dad. So I'm glad we finally get to see each other.
Yeah, this has been great. I'd love to come back too if you ever need another guest. It's always good to talk and raise awareness about the ALS Association.
I love that, and you're doing it too. So keep on doing it. Thank you so much for everything that you do with your family, for raising awareness, for running, for raising money. I mean, I'm really happy to know you, and I'm really happy that you are a part of our ALS family.
Same. I really appreciate you doing this and really raising more awareness to this awful disease and for the great organization. So it's been a pleasure.
Well, we're not stopping. We're not stopping until we finally get rid of this whole nasty disease. So we will just keep fighting. So I'm glad we have you in our corner fighting with us. And good luck. Good luck in school. Good luck on your second master's. And I'm really excited for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a great night. We'll talk to you later.
You too. Bye.
Aw, Peggy, the Lemba family does rock. They really do. See, you guys, I think I can't even begin to convey just how excited I get about talking to these guests and getting to see the family and getting to hear more about them. And we are family, and I'm so happy that we got to have Chris with us and we get to talk about Ken and keep his memory alive. So, hey, thanks, Chris. Well, speaking, we were doing a lot of talk about the walk or about the run, but honestly, if you guys are not runners but you still want to get involved, we have walks, which is really cool because we have the Walk to Defeat ALS, and we actually have 4 of them throughout the year, and one of them is coming up in about almost a month. Tomorrow will be exactly a month. Aw, thank you. Ooh, we just got another donation to our Tiltify campaign from Swedish Cheese. I'm telling you, every week these names get crazier and crazier. I just love it so much. So thank you, Swedish Cheese, for your donation to the Tiltify campaign. Oh, Laura McKee. Thanks for your donation to the Tiltify campaign too. I can't wait to even bring you on here and chat about all kinds of fun stuff. But until then, thank you so much for your donation, you guys. This really means a lot, and this money is going to such a good cause because, again, I will say it over and over and over because it's so exciting. Every single thing, every service, every support group, every piece of equipment, everything that the ALS Association provides is free of charge. So your donations are going to such a great cause. You're going to people like Chris's dad, who we just talked to. It's making their lives a little easier. So thank you so much for your donations. And I'll get back to, we were talking about the run, but if you can't run 26.2 miles, I can't, so I don't fault anyone for it. We have walks, which are so exciting. So our Walk to Defeat ALS, our Chicago Walk is coming on. There it is. There's a link in the comment section for more information on that. But the walk coming up in Chicago, we have 3 walks coming up in September in Northern Illinois, Peoria, and in Champaign. And guys, join. It is so easy, especially with what's going on in the world right now. Unfortunately, we're not able to meet and get together to do these walks in person like we used to and love to. But the benefit to that is that they've all gone virtual. So no matter where you are in the world, you can participate and get in on this event. It's amazing because there is no cost to sign up. There's no minimums that you have to raise. If you don't raise $1, you know what? That's okay because you are raising awareness. So you can join up. You can have as many walk teams as you want. You can have friends and family and a bunch of different cities walking all on your team. They're kind of our to this sighting. So there are no costs. Like I said, there is no minimum to raise, and every single team captain is going to get a superhero supply box in the mail that is filled with all these. They did this really cool thing this year where they have little different packages that you open when you get to certain goals. So if you happen to be wanting to raise money and you do, when you hit a goal, you get to open a prize. When you hit another milestone, you get to open a prize. So there's some really cool goodies inside that box. And this week is Team Week, and there's all kinds of simple and fun challenges. And when you meet those challenges, there are prizes. So yesterday there was a gift certificate to, I think, a party card store, something that you could use. Today is another challenge where you can win a gift card. So there's all kinds of chances to win stuff. And again, there's no cost to sign up. So do it. You can just walk around the block if you want. You can walk to the end of your street. You can make any kind of walk pattern with your friends and family, all in the name of spreading awareness for ALS. So make sure you check out that website. The link is up there. You guys can join a team wherever you're at. Join. Come walk with us. We want you on our team. Ooh, what else do we have going on? Ooh. Another quick announcement before we bring on our next guest. We have the Try Not to Laugh challenge. If you guys remember, we hit our first milestone of raising $250 with our Tiltify campaign, which means that I have to take the Do Not Laugh challenge, and I'm going head to head against another one of our ALS advocates and ambassadors, Sabrina Johnson, who was on our first episode and lost her father Tone to the disease. So her and I are going to battle it out to see who can go longer without laughing. And she had this beautiful suggestion. So we are going to go live tonight after the show. So watch out on our Instagram account at ALSA Chicago. We're going to be making that announcement. And for the next 48 hours, we're doing a little challenge. If you donate just $10 and more, we welcome more. But if you donate at least $10, you get to be a part of the challenge. You can submit a joke, a funny comment, something you think might make us laugh, and we will include that in the show. So we'll actually get to see if you are the one that made one of us laugh to lose the bet. I'm not sure what happens when you lose yet, but it's going to be pretty gnarly. So you want to be in on this. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. You just have to donate $10 or more. And then once you do, you can direct message the ALS Association on their Instagram page at ALSA Chicago with your funny note, funny comment. But I do want to put it out there. I know none of you will do this because we're all grown adults, but please keep it appropriate. Anything inappropriate will not be shared, but fair game for everything else. So try to get in there, try to make us laugh. It's going to be such a fun time. And again, all the money goes to the chapter. So we want to keep on providing these services free of charge to all of the families. So jump in on that. Ooh, let's see. Can't wait to see Sabrina in season. Yeah, it is going to be a tough competition. Thank you for whoever posted that because I laugh all the time. This is really hard for me. So this is going to be a challenge. And speaking of a challenge, our next guest knows all about challenges. Even saying these words kind of gets me a little bit. I can't imagine what she has gone through in her life. Oh gosh, here we go. No, ALS you've heard me say it many times, ALS are 3 words, 3 letters that no family ever wants to hear. But what do you do? What do you do when you hear those letters? And more so than that, what do you do when you hear them more than 8 times? Yeah, more than 8 times. Our next guest, Laura, has lost her grandfather, 2 of her aunts, 2 of her cousins to ALS, and she has another 2 cousins currently battling ALS right now. I mean, that's just unimaginable to me. We're going to dive into that, but that is terrifying. So she is all too familiar with this disease and what ALS does to you, to your family, and to your loved ones. And now, despite being surrounded by familiar ALS, which is incredibly rare, by the way, despite all of that, she could have anticipated what was about to come for her in 2017. On her birthday, of all days, in 2017, her husband, her life, was diagnosed with ALS. Kevin lost his ALS in 2019, just a little over 2 years after diagnosis. Here to share her story and to share Kevin's story, please welcome Laura McKee.
Hi, you guys. Hi, Season. Thank you. Chris did such a good job. Really hard to follow that.
Oh, amazing, both of you. And my gosh, Laura, that's like, I don't even know where to begin with this. I mean, we talk, so ALS hits anybody, anytime, but it's so darn sporadic. And in fact, about 90% of ALS is completely sporadic. It's only about 5 to 10% that is familiar, and you have it. I mean, this is insane. How many people in your family have ALS? I mean, what does ALS mean in your family?
Well, it doesn't have the greatest meaning. I tried to come up with an acronym that it would be, but I can't. But you can imagine my shock when my husband was diagnosed, and we giggled a little bit to say none of our family is even going to believe this. Like, not that they would consider us to be, fabricators, but, it was like, we just thought my husband was suffering with a back injury from being, late 40s and being in agriculture and farming, probably not in shape. I mean, of course not. As we get a little older, we're not the family that's running the 5Ks. So we knew instantly that this was just, how can this be?
Yeah.
And I remember the day that he was diagnosed, and when initially it was just Kevin with his doctors, and when they called me back, it was kind of it was not a joke, but they made a joke to say that they kind of quickly did some statistics that said it was 1 in 99 billion that my family would have the gene, and then I would marry a guy that ends up developing ALS. That's the sporadic type. So the joke a little bit was like, maybe you should play the lottery because your odds are better. Now, we did play the lottery that day, and we didn't win.
Yeah, but you know what? You won the love lottery. I know that's so corny to say, but
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, tell me about Kevin. Tell me about how you guys met, or a little bit about what kind of man he was.
Well, first, he was a giant teddy bear, and so we used to laugh and from having pet names to each other to having very much a Cub Cardinal rivalry. I'm the big Cub fan. He's the St. Louis Cardinal fan, and we knew that on date one. So we used to joke and say truthfully that we had 2 first dates. So we met in 2007 at Match.com. And then because we both were living in small towns, lo and behold, we ended up meeting at a bar, which we didn't even know each other. And I so wish he was here to hear this story, because he put his foot in his mouth, because he said he could not wait to make a trip to Wrigley Stadium. Now, if you're a Cub fan, you're just laughing your head off going, what? Well, tell me, have you ever been to Busch Field? Well, and lo and behold, it was the same guy that I was talking to online. We just hadn't met each other. And he was randomly at this bar in this small town, and that's where I was at too. So we kind of put 2 and 2 together that night and laughed. We laughed about it forever, that we had two first dates.
Oh, and you know what? And you still went on another date with him, even after, as a Cubs fan. He didn't.
I did, and everybody teased us, and we got married, and it was the Cub Cardinal series and stuff, and people teased us, and I was like, well, I knew it going into it. And when you live up in Northern Illinois, you don't see a lot of Cardinal games on TV unless they're playing the Cubs. So I was lucky there not to have too much Cardinal in my face.
That's special. This is that you could. There's not many people you can look the other way for if they're not Cubs fans as well, but we will for him. We will for Kevin.
Yeah, for sure. And he was a very good baseball fan. He was a good sport fan, so that was a lot easier for him. So and he was very humble about it. I wasn't humble about it. I was always, smudging a Cubs fan.
Fair enough. I can't even believe the odds you just said. My head's still reeling about that. The chances of anyone being diagnosed with ALS, but that many times in your family, that's insane. That's so insane.
Yeah, and my first exposure to ALS when I was about 8 years old, and my Aunt Mary, who was my idol and my mom's oldest sister, and she started to develop the symptoms. So my grandfather that had it, he passed away before I was even born, when my mom was just a teenager. So, I kind of knew about it, but I was 8 years old when Mary was diagnosed. And then watching her progression, she was my favorite. And she was a farmer's wife, always had the big dinners, made everything from scratch. Like going to her house for meals was like an event. And I still remember it all. And they lived on a dairy farm, and as a kid, going to a farm was a really big deal. So watching her and my mom telling us what her disease was, and my mom always kept us posted on the prognosis.
It's probably my internet. Comcast.
It's Sam in the background. Keep going. Seasonal hot
back. That's all right. So my mom would keep us posted just to not alarm us as kids, my sister and I, like, hey, Mary no longer walks, or Mary's 100% in a wheelchair now. And then all the way up until, Mary was bedridden, and Mary died. It was super traumatic because she was my favorite in the whole world. And her kids were my pride and joy too, my cousins. And I was so blessed. But that was my first knowledge of ALS. And then continuing on, you would hear some random people and maybe a celebrity or so. And then my cousin Joe was diagnosed, and Joe was 2 years older than me. And he was diagnosed at 28. And that blows your mind a little bit too, because 28, like what that my aunt was 43, Joe's 28, and it was just really shocking. And he got his diagnosis after a like a kind of a back injury after like falling off a roof or something, like shingling and kind of losing balance and slipping. So, you know, it was like there was always kind of a something or an injury or something that kind of turned my family a little bit more to focus it. But with Kevin, my husband, I never in a million years thought that he had ALS. We thought, again, he was out of shape, overweight, pushing 50 years old, tired, working on the farm and throwing bales of hay around or bales of seed and jumping in and out of a tractor, you know, probably, you know, not lifting with the legs. I don't know. So he was just kind of nursing a bad back, and physical therapy would help him. Massage therapy would help him. But, you know, the day of, I really did assume we were going to get a surgical appointment and we were going to go in and do some back surgery and heal him up by summer and get him back in the field by fall. And when they gave us the diagnosis of ALS, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And my dad was actually in the waiting room and I came out and got him, and, you know, the tears are flowing and he was like, no, because he knew all about it too. So it was like, it's so crazy. How can this be?
Yeah, and it can present so differently, and it's always such a different story to diagnosis every single time. Everybody's story that you hear is so different. And there are often those, like, you know, those accidents or an injury that are tied to it, because it can sneak up and come in so small, you know, it's so strange. And it's always such a frustrating, it's very frequently such a frustrating, like, road to diagnosis, or it's like hidden behind one of these accidents or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it was for our family too. So, you know, and again, to know Kevin, he probably had the symptoms that he didn't want anybody to fuss over him. And I know it was a true testimony of how much he loved other people more than himself, which was super true he was. But he didn't want you to fuss over him. He didn't want you to wait on him or worry about him. He wanted to worry about you. So I think he had this and the symptoms a lot longer than he let on to.
It's hard. When it comes in so small and like so tiny, it's like hard to know when to say, hey, you know, something's going on, or not wanting to admit it, for sure.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
gonna sneak back into the background now that Season's here. I'll be here to jump in just in case.
Oh, thank you so much, Sam. I love that you just dived in and took over. Sam's a rock star. Sorry, guys. Internet, I don't know what's going on, Storm. But
Don't worry about it.
I'm so mad I missed what you were talking about. But did she get into, I want to know, you and I talked on the phone and you had made this really great comment to me that stuck with me, that you hated to be a caregiver, but you loved him more. I mean,
yeah, so Season, you faded out there a little bit, but I definitely think I can answer your question. And I did. I truth be told, I say I hated being a caregiver, hated it. Just because I didn't know what to do. And his progression required him for about the last year to be 100% bedridden. He couldn't get up for showering, bathroom, or anything. And I mean, I'm a finance girl. I have an MBA. I have no idea how to take care of somebody. I really didn't even know how to put a thermometer in and, you know, push the button. That's how green I was. So with all of that, I just had to take care of him. He deserved it. And everybody deserves dignity. And that's what I wanted to help preserve for Kevin, is just dignity. And I was scared that he would kind of give up if he didn't have good care. And I know that sounds weird because he wasn't anything fancy or frilly, but he didn't want to be a pain for anybody. So we made it a game. We had a lot of fun with it, and I relied on people. So whether it be my dad, and God bless him, because he lives a mile down the road and he was at my beck and call all the time. And Kevin and my dad were best friends, and my dad gave us his all. So whether it be 2 a.m, and we need help, or it was before he was bedridden and you know, kind of transporting him from a wheelchair to a bathroom. I mean, my dad mastered it safely. And my dad now is 76 years old, and I kind of cringe a little bit thinking that he was doing that, but yet my dad didn't want to give up control either. So he wanted to take care of him,
Yeah.
which means the world to me. So Mondays and Fridays, I was able, thankful for my company that would allow me to work from home. Those days he had his nursing care. So he had a bath, he had, you know, the nurses would check on him. He would have some medical procedures or whatever. So I was able just to work in their home office and still keep the lights on, so to speak, keep the insurance paid. And my dad would check in all the time. And then Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, we reached out to family friends. And I'm not a shy person. And I definitely believe that when people truly say, you know, what can I do for you? How can I help? If you're specific and ask them, most people love to help. And I had several angels that helped us, that kind of helped every Tuesday, was really the same lady, Diane, and she was a good family friend. And I always joke that between Tuesdays and Thursdays, who was Donna, and Donna was a family friend also that was semi-retired, but really kind of bored and needed something to do. And so I attracted her to come over, and she was an amazing cook. All these ladies were great cooks. And I joked and said that Kevin had this love affair with these 70-year-old ladies who would help him and could take care of him and could help him. Again, he was bedridden, but it was more camaraderie. It was more, you know, just, you know, feeding him. And he developed such great fondness for these ladies. Now, Wednesday was kind of fun because it would either be my dad or a couple of my uncles or a couple of the guys from the coffee shop. So I used to joke and say that his babysitting would be, you know, kind of tied to sports or who was in the town. And, you know, nobody had to do much more than, you know, hold the drink for him or help him eat. The rest of the stuff was taken care of by my dad and I. My older sister also just lives a mile down the road, and she was at my beck and call all the time. And I think it was necessary for me to have the sanity, to have other people around, but I couldn't say more about them. I owe all of those caregivers my life. And the, you know, the association kind of led us to a lot of it to say, you know what, you got to be specific, and you got to say, you know what, here's what I need help with. I really could use help grocery shopping. Some people like to do that.
I mean, people, when they reach out, they mean it. They want to be there, and being specific is so important because, yeah, I mean, people don't know what exactly you need, and it really, I don't know, moments like this do bring the village together, you know, just, especially you said Kevin wasn't ready to be like cared for. Like, it's just so good that, you know, these people come out of the woodworks and that your family was there to support too. It's just,
yeah. And at the same time that this is going on, I mean, you know, Kevin passed away in November of 19. And at the same time, you know, for 6 months earlier, you know, I have a first cousin that was going through and had some carpal tunnel surgery that wasn't healing. And, you know, her diagnosis at the end was ALS. So it's like, we've got all these emotions going on. And, you know, on top of everything that I said about the people that were helping, I also had people that kind of help overnight. And I would have them come over. They would just come and have dinner with us and spend the night. Sometimes they would get a good 8 hours worth of sleep. Sometimes they were up a few times because I just needed the help and moving him and rotating him and all of that. And my cousin Denise was one of those people that gave us her time. And then for us to know, and Kevin did know before he died that she had ALS, you know, it's hard. It's very much a heartbreaking story. And, you know, how can Kevin then repay somebody when she's going through it too? So, we just, you know, you just kind of make do and you just, you know, you praise God for the days you have.
yeah, absolutely. Hey, Susan, welcome back.
You know, and I'm so sorry, guys. All in the name of live TV. You never know what's going to happen. So if I go out again, I love that Sam's got the reins and she can just jump in and keep going with this. But Laura, I want to talk to you. So please, internet, work with me because I want to talk to you. I don't know if you hit it already. I mean, just talking about what you've been saying about Kevin in the community. I mean, we talked about this. Who's your hero? Who's your hero in life right now?
Well, now this is going to make me cry a little bit, so I'll try to hold my composure. But to have the family support with my dad and sister, they're by far my heroes. So, and I can see Peggy and Julie, they're chiming in and stuff, and we were able to be the chosen family in 2018 to go to Washington D.C. and lobby with our congressman about funding and releasing that waiting period for benefits and stuff. So, my dad is often a jokester and he's often a clown, but he's the most sensitive, loving man you will ever meet. And you're not going to cry alone with him. So as much as he's a tough guy, he was at our beck and call 24/7. And the same with my sister. And she maintained a full-time job, but she had Thursday nights and she would be with us, be with Kevin, and just be like, you know what, Laura, you need to shower, you need to go to bed. And was really part of his religious faith too. So my sister was very much would bring him, communion to home and have a little church service with him and pray with him, which was really important to Kevin. And she then got the nickname, and it's so funny, and I know she'll be giggling when she sees this, but Sister Ann. And it's not just because she's my sister, but she's really a devout religious woman that really wears it and likes to share it. And Kevin loved it. So my dad and sister, I don't know where I would be without them, and they helped me in this journey, and I couldn't do it without them.
Oh. And Kevin, I mean, we had talked on the phone, like the strength that he had. You guys had such a humor about everything, which I think is so. But you were cracking jokes about it on the phone when we were chatting. What was that acronym? I don't have it with me that you were talking about. You guys had some code with each other.
It was PETA. So Kevin didn't want anything that was a PETA. So if it was a pain in the ass, he didn't want to do it. So he did the infusion for a while, for about a year, and then it became a pain in his ass. And he's like, nah, I'm done. Whether or not he would get haircuts regularly. And then it was so funny, like the week before he died, he got this wild hair, that he wanted a haircut and he wanted me to shave his head. And I don't know why he wanted me to do it. I'd never done it before in my life. But my cousin Wendy and I attempted it. And I mean, good thing he didn't see the mirror because it was crazy. And he's like, my head is all the time. It's a PETA, shave it. So that was our joke. So, we made a lot of humor. He would joke a lot. I think it's just a good mechanism for us. We also knew what the end result was. So we can joke all we want, but we didn't know anybody that had ALS that lived a long time. I did have an older cousin that was on a ventilator and had the trach and stuff, and he did live a really long time. And Kevin didn't want that. And he knew it from the get-go. He didn't want to preserve his life. He just wanted to make the best of it. So I think that says a lot about the man that he was, and he wanted to be, he wanted to care for us. And he said, hopefully I can get to heaven. And as soon as I do, then I'll turn around and watch out for you.
That's beautiful. And I think that's something that. Go ahead, Susan.
I think it's so, what Sam was probably going to say, I think it's so amazing that he just had this attitude, and you guys were very open, and you were very open with me about how, like you said, you knew what the end result was going to be, and there's no what if maybe we could beat this. That's not in the cards right now for ALS. So when you were so open about what was coming, what the future was going to hold, what did Kevin want his legacy to be?
Well, earlier when Chris was talking, the question was, somebody had asked, does Chris have a bucket list? And Kevin didn't really have a bucket list for life, so to speak, but he did have one for me. He does have one for me. And he worked with his best friend, Mike, down in St. Louis. And he's like, you know what? He kind of gave them some orders too, fun and poke and fun, to be like, you know what, just, keep Laura when you travel, because we had traveled with them before, and their kids are my kids and all of that. So he wanted me to, do some home remodel. He wanted me to, fix the furnace and, get a new one, like those kind of fun bucket lists. But he wanted me to travel. I haven't done too much of it. Kevin passed away before COVID, like 2 months before. So if there's a small silver lining, which is so weird, but like he didn't even know what the word COVID meant. And I'm so grateful because we had a revolving door in our house of people coming and going and seeing, whether it be our hospice nurses and our team and the social workers, etc. Nobody even rang a doorbell. And I would be so sad if we didn't have that excitement for Kevin on a day-to-day basis for him. And even the morning that he passed away, there was about 8 of us really close people, friends and family, and my sister and dad. You know, we held his hand with him and we're there with him. And, you know, you wouldn't have had that luxury with COVID.
It's true. I mean, you were talking about the moment. I mean, it's a little hard to even have to sit here and talk about the moment that your husband passes away, because this is not how life is supposed to work out. But you said it was so beautiful that you guys got to just kind of close your eyes and fall asleep together.
It really was like that. So it was he passed away on Thanksgiving, and the day before, in my little town, and I live about 90 miles west of Chicago in a town of 5,000, for whatever reason in our subdivision we didn't have electricity all day. And I can't even remember why. I think there was a car accident and it kind of hit a pole. But I was pretty good friends with the fire chief who lived in our neighborhood, and they had been to our house many times for falls and lift and assist. And I made the call to the fire station and said, we need a generator, at least to keep his bed moving. He wasn't on any oxygen at that time or anything like that, but just to keep it comfortable. And it's cold. It's the middle of November, end of November. I mean, it's 40 degrees out. And we had a little portable heater, and the fire department was there and they took care of it. But what was really cool, and you know, I don't think there was any pictures that were taken because the moment just didn't need it. But if you can just picture yourself in November, it's 40 degrees out. The sun sets pretty early at 5 o'clock. We had candles burning in the house all around. So in the bathroom, kitchens, around Kevin, and you know, the smell is great. And there's a few people. We know the end is coming. He's not awake at this time. His pain is managed. The house couldn't have been any more beautiful. And it was just time for people to hold his hand and, you know, to say their last goodbyes and just to love on him. And it was super cool. I was so blessed. And when a couple of his friends from out of town had made it to the house, I knew that Kevin could hear. And I had said, we have nicknames for each other. He called me Lou and I called him Fred. And I said, hey, Fred, can you hear me? Can you give me a kiss? And he did. You know, he could pucker up and he gave me a kiss. And I just looked around and made sure that other people saw it so they didn't think I was wacky. But, you know, he did, and I held his hand, and we all relaxed that night, and a couple people kind of slept vigil next to him. And about 4 a.m, he passed away. But he wanted the house to settle down before he did. So it was really bittersweet, but it was super cool that I think somebody got up to go to the restroom, and then they checked on him, and he had passed, but he had just passed. And it was really just peaceful. Like his greatest people, his greatest friends, his family were here. We had a lot of laughing. We had a few tears, and he was no longer in pain.
It's true. That you beat me to the punch, because you had told me that story and I was bawling like a baby on the phone. But I think it's one of those, especially the way you said it, Kevin was very peaceful, but he was out of it. He didn't know what was going on. He was asleep. He wasn't in any other way really responding to anything. So the fact that you had this, I mean, I'm calling it a miracle, 100%, because to have him out of it like that, and this is starting a chain reaction. To have him out of it and then be able to just tell him to give you a kiss. He heard everything that was going on. He was still there. He wanted to make sure you were okay. He wanted everyone to know that he loved you and that he was going to be in peace.
Yeah, for sure. I totally believe that.
Yeah, true. And speaking of miracle, to get myself together here. You were talking about signs, and I know you had said that you guys joke with each other and you kind of tease each other, but you told him, when you go, you better give me some signs. You better be up there in heaven giving me some signs.
That's right.
You even made the comment like a stupid butterfly or something.
Right. Don't compare the stupid butterfly. I'm not going to pay attention to it. come back, it's going to slap me in the face and be like, this is Kevin, I'm paying attention to you. What are you doing? And all of that stuff. And, I think as time progresses, I open my heart and my memories become less sad and they become happier. And, I'll see him. And I do take him with me. This is my fat head. And I feel like when we go to baseball games or events or whatever, it's really important to have him with us. And he has ended up in great places. Cubs games, the auto show, the ALS fundraiser, he was there. And, just different wine and cheese events and Christmas and all of that stuff. So I bring him with me. And if I forget him, man, it's kind of a heartbreak.
Kevin's everywhere. I love this. I love that Kevin even gets to make an appearance on the show tonight too. Kevin's been on Season Sunflower Hour.
Yep, exactly.
I love it. But I think I told you this the other day. I think Kevin he's given you a lot of signs, but I think he gave you one big sign because the night before, so we actually talked on the phone prior to this. I just wanted to sort of get to know you and get to learn a little bit more about you. And you said that he came to visit you the night before that.
It was the first time. So in a year and a half, he came to me in my dream, and it was nothing bad. It was just him in my dream. And I said that it was probably, season, kind of forcing me to talk about it a little bit. And it's okay. I'll talk about him anytime. He was a beautiful man inside and out. And I'm so lucky that he chose me to be his wife, and to have him in my dream was just super peaceful.
See, he's there. He's there reminding you, don't you ever forget that fat head.
That's right. Exactly. And he's got a lot of signs. And, as far as funny things that he'll, drive into my back a little bit, or, some jewelry that I'll wear once in a while, or something like that. His goal, he had a lot. Like I say, the bucket list was really stuff for me to do. He wanted me to stay involved. He wanted me to help others. He wanted me to keep giving, to find comfort in this disease. He believed, and I do too, the contributions that Kevin and Laura make, we're not going to cure ALS, but we are going to make it just a little bit easier for another family. And that's our goal. Together, that was our goal.
And we are going to cure it, because we're not going to stop until we do. And you're right, it might not happen this, tomorrow. It might not happen next month, but we are going to keep fighting. We're going to keep Kevin's fat head there with us.
That's right. I can't wait.
But you've been through a lot. Yeah, we're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate with Kevin and all the other families. But you've been through so much. What would you say to families right now, people that are watching that have a loved one that's diagnosed with ALS? What would you say to them?
Oh, boy. Okay. The first thing I would say is don't panic. And the other thing I'm going to say is do not solve a problem until you have it. And those are words that my dad still impresses upon me. Like your head goes all the way to the end. When he was diagnosed, it was right when Radicava was coming out for infusions, and it was clumsy. And if you were, I know it's so much easier now, but the insurances didn't play well. Everybody, it was always a no. It was always, scary. It was going to be $40,000 a month, all of that stuff. And it's just a scare tactic. And I feel that is the lack of knowledge made me grumpy, and it panicked me. Like, I can't believe at 40 years old, this disease that Kevin didn't even ask for is going to bankrupt us. It wasn't like that. So to slow down, to don't solve a problem till you have it, use your resources, and take one step at a time. You cannot do it alone. Swallow some pride and ask for help. Ask somebody to do your laundry. Ask somebody to go to the grocery store for you. I hated that, going to the grocery store, by the way. So I was like, that, God bless anybody is able to help there. So, but just go moment by moment. and do not look too far in the future because you're not going to like what you see. I mean, when he was diagnosed, the next week, when we started to tell people, I mean, it looked horrible. And the first year it looked horrible. And, you know, his end result still looked horrible. And I'm only saying that because, you know, nobody comes out of this, you know, cured yet. So stay in your moment and get through today. And sometimes I couldn't really look past Tuesday.
Oh, Peggy chimed in just basically how much she loves you. I love this, that you are such an advocate for this community. And I mean, another thing that you and I get to talk about on the phone, it's like, I think that the initial instinct is, why? Why does this have to happen? Because this disease sucks and we wouldn't wish it on anybody, but why isn't it happening to maybe the worst people in the world? It's not. It's always happening to the best people in the world. But it's this right here. It inspires people like Kevin. They're inspiring in you, they're inspiring the people around them, the advocacy, and to stand up and to want to fight and find a cure. And you know what? If it wasn't happening to such incredible people, there wouldn't be that inspiration to make a change and to do something positive with it. So thank you for just taking on this horrible, horrible disaster and turning it into something really beautiful.
I have met some of the most amazing people during this journey, you know, so Peggy for being, I mean, she was my caseworker from the beginning. We couldn't have had a better alliance. And, you know, still to this day, we just checked in on each other last week, and it's just more than just a generic, hi, how are you? It's so much genuine. Last year for the ALS walk, when we weren't able to do, the big one, we did one in our neighborhood with our family and friends, and you know, Peggy was able to make it, and we did. Kevin was there with a fat head, and about maybe 40 of our family and friends. We just walked the neighborhood, and we just kind of had a moment and remembered Kevin, and that's what he would have wanted. First of all, he would not have wanted to go to Chicago because that was a PETA for him, but he would have definitely loved just trolling around in the neighborhood and, you know, come on back to the house, have a few beers. That was who he was. He was your fun guy that you'd want to drink a beer with. And I'm grateful to the association and anybody that needs help. I mean, if you just don't even know, myself included, I didn't know what I didn't know, but I just knew I'm going to get through this and I'm going to help another person. So if anybody listening needs just an ear to bend, I have had so many great people listen to me, and I'll listen to them too, and I'll just give them the push in the right direction. But that's what the association does too.
Seriously, thank you for everything you've done, especially in Kevin's name, and for being such a great part of this family. And I hate that you're in it, but I'm glad that you're in it. I'm really glad.
You know, I would be remiss too. I do have to give one more shout out if I can, but you know, it was the association. We were diagnosed in Madison, Wisconsin. So from about our house, it's about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. And we were encouraged to change over to the ALS clinic in Rockford, Illinois, where Dr. Sean Woolery was at. And because and Kevin liked his team at Madison. They were amazing. We were in a different state, so we had a different ALS or association instead of, you know, they had Wisconsin. So and they needed to serve Peggy and crew needed to serve us since we lived in Illinois. And everybody had said it. And the first day that we met Dr. Woolery, he really did transform this disease from a panic stricken to we're going to get you through it. And he addressed pain management right away. And him and Kevin formed a bond instantly. And I am saddened that they closed the clinic. I blame that it was they closed the clinic in Rockford, Illinois after Kevin died. And I was like, wow, you know, that's funny what an impact Kevin had. No, I'm just kidding. But Sean Woolery couldn't have been any better of a doctor. I do feel if anybody can you know, reach him or send this to him, please do, because he is not any better of a friend, a colleague, and he made house calls and he checks on me once in a while too. And there's no better guy in the world. And if anybody's going to cure ALS, I'll tell you what, that guy right there is going to do it. And I love him with all my heart.
Well, that's a testament. That's a testament to you and Kevin to inspire that kind of love. out of people. So I love that. We know we're gonna take it home tonight, but as we head out, we know that Kevin's here because his fat head's here, but we do know that he is here and he is listening to all of this because that miracle again, that chokes me up every time. But we know he's here. So what do you want to say to Kevin?
Oh gosh, well, I think I said it before. I'm so glad that he chose me to be his wife, and his legacy is easy to follow up on because he made life so easy for me. He loved me easy. He participated in our marriage so easily, and couldn't have a better friend.
I know. Here we go again. But I'm so glad that I got to meet you. And now every time I see a butterfly, I'm going to be thinking about Kevin.
This probably is him because, I'm super lucky and you guys are doing great work. Thank you for continuing to get the word out and just, keep up the good work and keep ALS in the front running and it'll be gone someday.
It will be. It will be. And we're all going to raise a glass and toast to Kevin and to Kevin, to Ken, to all the families that have lost loved ones with this. We're going to get there. We really are. We're going to get there.
Yeah, we are.
Laura, you are such a pleasure. And as you head out, I want you to know you are so inspiring. And I think, you're saying that you were lucky that Kevin chose you. I think it goes both ways because he knocked it out of the park with one of
thank you.
best, most amazing women. So yeah, you are so inspiring, your strength and how you've gotten through this, not only one time, but 8, 9 times. I don't even know my own name at this point now. But you're amazing.
It's been a journey. Part of the grief and the healing is to talk about it, and you've made it really easy. And I appreciate, Season, you for sure. Sam, you're always at the front there of the ALS Association, and you're a lifeline. And I would be so silly to not thank Peggy and Julie for everything too. And you guys are just amazing, and I'm happy you're part of my family.
We love you. So much.
And you know what? As the world starts to open back up and events start happening, I look forward to hugging you guys in person.
We will be hugging you and Kevin's fat head, hopefully
Exactly.
very soon.
All right, you guys.
I love it. Have a great night.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, Sam, I love you. Thank you for jumping in.
Yeah, to jump in. I know we're running late, but I had a surprise backup host. We just you jumped off a little too soon, but she's been waiting in the wings. So I'm going to hop her on because she's going to see you on Thursday.
Who is ready for the Don't Laugh Challenge?
Woo! I love this. Are you trying to replace me already? You're trying to kick me out of here.
Oh, I'm just ready for a good competition.
It's going to be big. It's going to be good.
Competition is my middle name this season. So watch out because I do not plan to lose. I don't like to lose.
Bring it. Bring it. I couldn't let you just have Tuesday all to yourself without coming in here and making sure people knew that you were going down on Thursday.
Well, immediately after we're offline, I'm going to get us up on the Instagram page. You can do a $10 donation to submit some content to include in their Don't Laugh Challenge. They're going to be working together to figure out what the loser has to do. We'll be sure to, we'll take suggestions too if you have an idea. But that's going to be at ALSA Chicago on, I'm going to put it up here on Instagram. We'll put it up in the story. And you guys need to make this really hard on them. Deal?
Peggy, traitor, what is happening? Peggy's running on Sabrina.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. I can keep it right there.
I will remember this. You're going on my list.
I'm going to have the most serious day of my life on Thursday so I can bring 0 smiles to the game.
I'm training. As of right now, game is on. I am training. I'm going to walk around the 2 days of my life without smiling or laughing.
I am excited though for everyone who watches Season Sunflower Hour to get to see a little bit more of the goofiness behind Season compared to the seriousness of your show and what you discuss with guests. So I think we should have some really funny questions come up to get Season's goofy side.
It's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be different for
Stone
sure.
face.
But
That's what the stone face.
all right, everybody. Well, I think it's time to. We're running over for the night, so I'm gonna kick you guys out of here unless you have any closing words. But the tag at the bottom here on Instagram, we'll put that up right away. And yeah, let's see who your money is on for Thursday at 7 p.m. Okay.
Season's going down.
I think
Sabrina's
Sabrina
going
might
down,
have it.
down,
But
down. And guys, as always, before we leave, we got to throw it out with the best catchphrase in the whole world. Sabrina, Sam, everybody watching, be bright and shine your light, right? We'll see you guys next time.
bye.
Thursday.